Hi guys, welcome to the Clack Shack, and today I'm going to go over one of the things that a lot of people ask me about, and I know there's some new folks to the channel, and there's maybe some new folks that just getting into the lasers. People ask me a lot of times what material that I use, and what kind of plywood do I buy and that type of thing. Typically speaking, I have yet to buy any kind of craft wood or hobby wood or anything like that, and the sole reason is cost. And if you'll stick around for a few minutes, I'm going to go through the process and my opinion and my take on the cost of some of those materials versus what I use. So stick around for just a few minutes and we'll get to it. All right guys, it's been a busy day today. Started out this morning and had to cut my grass, and I don't know if you saw my intro video, but I have a lot of grass, got a lot of weeds, just got a lot of stuff that has to be cut. So I've been spending the morning bush hogging and cutting grass, and then I had to come in. I've got a bunch of stove covers that I've got to work on this week, and so I planed a whole bunch of wood and got it ready for that. And I had to run to town to try to get some more material for my laser. Pretty much for the past 2 days, I've had this machine running non-stop. I've got an order of 100 little boxes that are that big. Hang on, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Well, these are what I'm working on, and I can get 3 of these out of a sheet of my 16 by 16. And this is kind of the way it's bundled up, and when I give it to the customer. And she has ordered 100 of these. So I just band them up with rubber bands just to make sure that all the pieces stay together. I put them in a big box, and then I'll take those over to her, and then she's gonna turn around and repackage them. But the problem that I had was the material that they gave me last time I went to my local hardware store that I try to do business with. Apparently that they had some issues with getting what they normally get, which is the lighter colored Luan. And this stuff here, this is like 4.8 millimeters on average, and it's a little thicker than what I needed. I didn't really need it that thick, but at the time that's all they had. Yes, it's exactly 4.8 millimeters, but at the time that's all they had, and so I had to buy it, and it was the same price as the stuff that I normally get. But the problem with this stuff is it takes more time to cut it. I'm having to, with my 10 watt, I'm having to run 6 passes to get a clean drop out of this stuff. And occasionally I'll still have a little snag that I have to hit with the box cutter. Whereas the stuff that I usually use, 4 passes and it drops clean, no soot, no marks, no nothing. And I like the stuff, but let me get a sheet of it and I'll show you. But this is the material that I use. And this stuff right here is awesome. This is actually 4.3. Generally speaking, I'm going to say it's between 4.3 and 4.5. This stuff is lightweight. It cuts really easy, but yet it's strong. And this is what I've been using since back in October when I first got my D1. And I've used this stuff every batch that I've done, except for this last batch. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I've got a stack of probably 50 sheets of this other stuff left, but I'm not gonna use it unless I need it for maybe a jig or something like that. I might use it because it is a little thicker, it is a little stronger, but the stuff cuts so slow that it starts cutting into my burn time, which cuts into my profits, and it just makes for a long day. But I've made a video earlier when I first got home with this stuff, and I'm going to kind of throw that in here just to show you how I go about taking a 4x8 sheet and turning it into these 16 by 16s. And I've done a video about that before. You may have saw it, you may not. If you have, I apologize. Maybe I'll touch on something else this time that you didn't see last time. But the big thing that I want to touch on today is that this stuff right here, this 16 by 16 sheet, when it's all said and done, I've got about $1.40 in this sheet right here, $1.40 in this little 16 by 16 sheet. And the reason is I'm getting this stuff in a 4x8 sheet. I'm getting it for around $25. And then I take and I cut it into 16x16s. Well, I get 18 16x16s out of one 4x8 sheet of this material. And people, I know folks are, you know, well, this stuff isn't as consistent. It has voids, it has this, it has that. And I agree with you. It is not probably as consistent as a wood that's specifically designed for lasers. I'm not going to argue that. This stuff is wood. It does have some places that are harder than others. It has some places that are softer than others. Occasionally there'll be a little void in it. You may have a little like Bondo or wood filler in it occasionally. But at $1.40 for a 16x16, I'll throw a few pieces of it away if I have to, or just cut around a bad spot. I keep a box cutter handy, and if I were to have a little snag, when I pick this piece up and the pieces don't fall out, I just take it over to the table, flip it over, just touch it with a box cutter, and typically they fall out. So for me, this is the most economical approach to take. And where I live in a small community, we don't have a store that sells the thinner material that you would typically see people getting for lasers, like the Baltic birch and the, you know, MDF and stuff like that. So this is kind of my go-to. You know, I want to buy here from the stores that are local, that invest in the community, and so I try to do business with them when I can. Now, I'm going to tell you, if they get any more of this other stuff in, I'm not buying it. Next time I will drive to the neighboring town, because this stuff is terrible. But, you know, I've got 100 of these little boxes to build. I can put 3 of them on a sheet of this. On a 16x16, I built my design out to where I can put 3 of them on this sheet. And you're looking at about a 2-hour burn, because it's a very intricate burn. But I usually let this stuff run. Like today, I would come in here, put another piece of wood on, go do some yard work, come back, another piece of wood. And so that's the method that I'm using right now until my new machine gets here. Hopefully that'll speed things up. But stick around, I'm gonna show you the video of me bringing this wood home, and then we'll discuss it again. It was a good day at the hardware store today. I went in to get some more of my Luan that I usually use, and they have the stuff that I normally would get back in stock. So no more of that overly hardened, overly thick stuff that I've been having to use. I'm back in the game, guys. I got myself 7 sheets of it. 7 sheets cost me $196. So, you know, that's a good bit of money, but if you'll stick around for a few minutes, I'm gonna show you how much wood I'll get out of this. I've got my rig set up here to slice these things into 16-inch boards. I have learned over the years, or over the past year, how to go about cutting this stuff a little bit better. And I've got everything secured, and I'm fixing to try to cut these up and try to get them as close to 16x16 as I can. So hang around, and I'll show you how I do it. This is my Kregg jig. It's a Kregg rip, and it works great to keep from having to measure every sheet of this stuff. All right, guys, that's $200 worth of wood right there. I've got 100 little boxes on order, and each of the little boxes that I've got ordered, I can get 3 out of one of these sheets. So hopefully that's going to be enough wood to get me through this order. That's what I use, guys, and this is the good stuff. This isn't that stuff they've been giving me. This is the stuff I like here. 4 passes. and it's cut clean, no sanding, no nothing. Glad to see it back on the shelves when I went in the store. All right, guys, so all that work, and this is what I ended up with. Now, from about here down, that's that red wood that I'm not crazy about. Like I said, I'm not going to throw it away because it is useful. It is just very, very stubborn to cut, so I'm not a big fan of this stuff. And then this is the good stuff right here. This stuff cuts great. I'm glad to have it back in my life. And I told the folks at the hardware store that never again, ever are they to carry that stuff there. So they told me that it was out of their hands due to some supply issues, but hopefully I stocked up enough. I did the math. I bought 7 sheets today, so I should have 126 16 by 16 squares to use. The boxes that I'm turning out right now, I've got to do 100 of those. I have maybe 15 or so done. So, and I get 3 boxes out of each sheet. So if my math is correct, and it's very likely that it isn't, I should have enough to finish up this order of 100 boxes and still have a decent supply, other than not having, you know, just too much. Because right now I technically have too much, because I've even had to resort to setting some of it down here because I've run out of room in my usual place, and I am rapidly outgrowing this shop, guys. So, but that's my take on the wood. And the tool that I was using to cut the plywood up, some of you may have already saw it, but it's a Kregg jig. It's made for cutting sheet material like that, so you don't have to measure it and try to draw a line. Are these 100% accurate, me doing this by myself? No, they're not. Because I can't keep them all stacked together. If I did them one at a time, I could probably get it exact. But I don't go for exact when it comes to this. I just try to get it as close as I can get it and do it kind of quick. So, but I'll drop a link in the description for the jig, and it pretty much fits on any skill saw from what I've been told. I use it on my DeWalt skill saw because, as you can tell if you've watched any of my videos, I like my DeWalt tools. And so there you have it, guys. If you're trying to figure out where to get wood and you want to get wood for, you know, $1.30 or $1.40 a square, then this might be an option for you if you want to sacrifice the occasional, you know, bad piece of wood. But don't believe the nightmares. I mean, I hear people saying all the time, this stuff is junk, this stuff is garbage, this and the other. I can take this stack of wood that I just cut today and easily turn it into $600 from $200 with just a little bit of lasering. And that's depending on what I make with it. I mean, but at the least, each one of these sheets right here, you're looking at close to $20 by the time I cut something out of it and make something with it. So, you know, there you have it, guys. I hope this helps some of you and clears up any type of confusion that may be out there about what kind of wood I use and what you could be using if you wanted to. But this is an option, just remember. But thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch y'all next time, guys. See ya.